Orcane is the newest and ninth fighter added to Rivals 2. His trap-heavy kit adds a new dimension to the plat fighter genre that is rarely replicated in other games. However, this uniqueness makes him a bit tricky for newer players to get a full grasp on him. Today, we'll be touching on a few tips and tricks necessary for learning and mastering the character. Before we get started, let's go over the character's identity and core gameplay. Orcane likes to trap opponents with his bubbles, set up for early kills with his puddle, and keep opponents in disadvantage with his long combos and juggles, which can be extended by traps and his puddle. If this sounds like the character for you, sit tight as we explore the ins and outs of his kit. We'll be going over some quick and simple tips to improve your gameplay. This guide will be a bit more beginner friendly, but if you already have a good hold on Orcane, I suggest skipping to the advanced tips chapter in the video, or check out our more in-depth and complex guide that we have planned for after the game's launch. To get started, let's check out Orcane's Puddle. There are 3 ways to place Orcane's Puddle. In Orcane's neutral special, which shoots a water droplet forward, his down special, which drops the droplet below him, and his special pummel, which causes a puddle to form on stage only if there is no puddle. When Orcane's Puddle is on the stage, you can use your down B to create a column of bubbles from it. Press up B to teleport to it. Extend and empower your smash attacks while standing on it, empower your side B while standing on it, and empower your forward throw while standing on it. You can also teleport to your puddle with your special pummel, setting it for early kill throws with forward throw, especially when the puddle is near the ledge. Now that we're all on the same page about what Orcane's Puddle does, and how to place it, let's go over some quick tips and tricks to implement each of these moves in a real game. Starting with Orcane's down B. When Orcane uses down B to place a puddle, he stalls slightly in the air, allowing you to mix up landing timings, as well as land right after the projectile, increasing your shield pressure. You can also drop a puddle, activate the bubble pillar, and then land within the bubbles, keeping you safe from characters without a disjoint. Orcane's neutral B can be used for more than just placing a puddle, as a projectile of water is pretty quick and it can interrupt opponents' moves. Normally you can't combo off of this, but there is certain situations where you can land an empowered forward drop. However, this can be risky if missed. The pillar of bubbles from Orcane's down B can be great for comboing. I like to hit or toss opponents towards the puddle before proccing the pillar. This guarantees me a follow-up attack. However, you do need to look out for your bubbles getting parried, since it does put Orcane into a lot of lag. To try and avoid this, I like to activate my pillar on opponents that are in the air, or when they're knocked down, since you can't parry in those positions. After landing the bubble pillar on an opponent, you have lots of options. First things first, you do need to direct the bubbles into the opponent, matching their DI. This will keep them caught in your trap. Then, you get to choose a follow-up. At low percents, I like to use down air, nair, and up air since they can all lead to combos. And at high percents, I like to use back air and up air since they can kill. You can also use your forward air to trap opponents longer if they DI your pillar badly. This can rack up damage fast, but can also be escaped based on the character weight, so be sure to not get too greedy. As we touched on earlier, smash attacks and your side B are both stronger when standing on the puddle. While there's not much to the side B, besides it being able to land a sneaky kill, the smash attacks can stretch quite a long ways when combined with hydroplaning, an arcane tech that lets you tap your stick backwards right before inputting your smash attack, allowing you to slide across the stage and hit unsuspecting opponents. You can also combine this with your spot dodge to get a good slide, but that might be patched out in future versions of the game. Getting back to talking about the puddle, you can teleport to your puddle with your special pummel. This option I really only recommend when you need to move to the puddle for combo reasons, like tech chasing with an empowered smash attack, or a throw. This is super helpful whenever you want to kill with forward throw, since you can take super early stocks on unsuspecting opponents with bad DI. I find stages like Hiberia and Harbor great for this, since you can leave a puddle at the ledge, around kill percent, and fish for early grabs and kills. The last use of puddle is to recover. Your up B hits opponents super hard in recovering to it, but is also super laggy. This leaves you vulnerable to an attack. When I'm at higher percent, I like to leave my puddle somewhere my opponent might have a hard time reaching, just in case I need to teleport to it. However, when recovering, I like to side B to the stage, wall jump, air dodge up, double jump, and then quickly up B while pressing shield to gain the most height. This is a tech known as Orca boosting and allows Orcane to gain the most height from his up B without making him teleport to his puddle. One last interaction with his puddle that I completely forgot to mention is using your ledge special to swim through the stage to your puddle. This makes his get up special not safe, but definitely safer than it is normally. Since we're on the topic of recovery options, let's touch on one last tip surrounding it. Be reversing your puddle and then using forward air facing away from the stage while flicking your stick towards the stage will allow Orcane to propel himself backwards and onto the stage. This is a tech known as Bubble Butt and has a hitbox on it, meaning you can use it to get out of the corner, ram into people deep off stage for an early kill, or gain a burst of movement to catch aggressive opponents off guard and neutral, and start a combo. Speaking of starting combos, let's go ahead and touch on those really quickly. Since you won't always have your puddle with you, we'll just touch on the combos that don't need a puddle. Orcane's jab can convert into all of his tilts. I like to use up tilt and down tilt to knock the opponent above me. This opens up great combo routes. His down air can be used to loop opponents when combined with his up tilt, while up air can be used to keep opponents above him. His nair also has a great combo potential. It's not as forgiving as up air and down air, but you can press the button again as you hit the ground to do a nair bounce, letting him use the move twice. This isn't the best tech in Rivals 2 so far, but I'm sure it'll be buffed in the future. In past games, it's led to back air and set up to early kills. Speaking of kill options, let's check those out. Orcane's kill options, besides his back air and up air, and obviously his strongs, can be found in his empowered forward throw, his back throw at high percents, his down air and back air off stage, as well as the underside hitbox of his up air, which spikes. His F tilt is also a kill move, but remember that since jabs can be cancelled into tilts, Orcane can normally jab once or twice to keep F tilting. This sends an opponent deep off stage. At this point in the video, you're probably thinking, wow, Orcane sounds really strong. He has to have some kind of weakness, right? And he does. So let's go over the pros and cons of playing Orcane. Before we get into that though, let's summarize his strengths. Orcane is great at fighting characters without a disjoint. He gets early kills off stage, and he traps opponents, which limits their movement, and has large, forgiving hitboxes, making him super easy for newer players. However, his weaknesses are apparent. Disjoints like Claren's sword can keep Orcane out, due to him not having great burst movement. His recovery can also get him killed early, especially when eating a fully charged strong attack or having to teleport to his puddle. His bad air drift can also get him stuck in nasty combos that seem to never end. These downsides, however, don't define the character, but must be made up for by the player. Let's visit a few tips to help you keep yourself out of trouble. As we touched on earlier, using your down special allows you to stall in the air, which can be great for dodging moves without wasting an air dodge or a jump. But you can also always upbeat to your puddle when being juggled high up in the air. Remember Bubble Butt that we talked about earlier? You can always use it or your up air to mix up your aerial movement. Lastly, remember to play patient. Trying to land too quickly can cause you to burn valuable resources, getting you comboed much longer or killed much earlier. Finally, let's go over a few general character tips that don't fall into any of these categories, but combine a few ideas that we've learned throughout the video in a more advanced way. With Orcane's puddle on stage, don't be afraid to go deep off stage to get a kill. Moves like down air can kill an opponent that's close to the lower blast zone. Even if you miss, your opponent probably won't be able to get back onto the stage and punish you for teleporting back to your puddle. When pressuring an opponent's shield, be sure to mix between jabs and tilts, since if either of them hit, they'll be open to a combo and big damage. Speaking of combos, when you're comboing an opponent, be sure to hit all your moves unless you're able to hit them with another double jump area. This will allow you to extend your juggles. When ledge guarding, try placing your puddle in a space that you can't cover with Orcane, like a platform above the ledge. This allows you to proc your bubble pillar or teleport to your puddle to get an early kill. You can also place your puddle by the ledge if you think you can hit an opponent with a strong attack or a forward throw, netting you early kills. To escape pressure while being knocked down, try using your special get up away from your opponent. It'll get you out of immediate harm's way, but it's not always applicable since it can be laggy and your puddle might be too close to escape danger. When using up throw, try and predict your opponent's DI to secure them in the bubble trap. Remember that most players want to DI towards center stage, but also probably don't want to get stuck on a platform above Orcane either. Remember though that good players also like to mix up their DI, so be sure to mix up the direction of your bubbles as well. When fighting characters like Claren, try using bubbles a little bit less due to her counter. Unlike Rivals 1, Orcane can't downbeat a place a puddle in her counter while on the ground. This limits his kill power and recovery options greatly. This is especially detrimental on smaller stages where her downbeat can be very restrictive. When recovering, try making your opponent have to choose between guarding the ledge and the puddle as much as possible. This allows you to go to the safer one. Recovering with Orcane can be a little tricky to get down at first, so be sure to practice puddleless upbeat and orca jump, as well as B reverse bubble butt to get back to stage. Speaking of B reverse bubble butt, remember that wall jumping makes you face away from the stage by default? This allows you to force bubble butt back onto the stage, which can be kind of risky, especially if the opponent has a disjoint to hit you with. That's just about all the tips and tricks that I have for you today. With Orcane being only a few days old, some of this information might age a little poorly. We'll be making videos and guides as the game grows and changes, however, so keep your eyes peeled for a full, more comprehensive character guide for Orcane and every character on the roster soon after the game launches. If you'd like this video, go ahead and check out our Rivals 2 guide playlist. It's full of content just like this video to help you learn and master the game, and I know you'll find something useful there. Until next time, thanks for watching.